Hey, this is Drew. This is my 2007 GT3, and you're watching ANSWRD. I think I've always wanted one when I was a kid, and more in tune when I started working. One of the goals that were set early was I gotta get a GT3 or I gotta get a Porsche, right? So one of the things that I did was I worked my way up to it, right? Started with a 240 SX, then had a 350Z, then had an E46 M3, and you can see the progression into that. And then I got my S2000 along with a 997.1S, traded the last two cars for this GT3.
Time out. Make sure to subscribe for next week's video of Ben and his C7 Z06 Corvette. Now let's get back to Drew and his GT3.
With the S2000, the rev ranges are really high, so I loved that about the car, and it was super light, but it was, to me, underpowered. Then you got the 911S, where you had the power, but not necessarily the high range. This car right here blends it together, and this right here, the exhaust note after 4K, is amazing. It screams, and it's so analog and so raw that you get addicted driving this car. And the suspension is just on planet, because with the DSC and also the Swift springs in the front that we modified, it made it so tight on the canyons. And it's, again, I'm gonna say the word planted. The favorite part of the GT3 is, again, the handling. It is amazing when you're on the roads and you're sticking to the corners, along with the DSC suspension that's down here, the Swift springs, also the BBS E88s, along with the Michelin 4S Pilot Sport tires. It just creates an environment where you just feel so planted on the road, and you can take turns a little bit faster than you would normally do. But again, that's one of the reasons, and also that 3.6 Mezger engine that just is Rev-Happy, right? So you can definitely go all the way to 8,400 and just hear that blast. So with this specific gen, the least favorite is if you're in Los Angeles and you're in traffic, it's an unassisted clutch. So what that means is in first gear, it is really, it takes effort to get in and out of it. And also with the brakes, I have the Cup 2 sport brakes, Cup 2 rotors, and with the Paget pads, it is like a bus screeching, slowing down. But hey, you know what? Price to pay for driving a GT3. The reason why I have a Cobb tuner in this GT3 is I'm not gonna get the turbo power of maximum horsepower and torque. However, what it does is it smooths out the mid-range, right? And also what we use this for is the vehicle speed, maximum torque, RPM range of what you hit. Also, it acts as a rev light. So if you're close to the rev ranges, it'll go from yellow to green and also red, just to make sure you know to shift. Along with that, it tells you what gear you're in. And it's very simple to use. You can go to stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3, depending on your setup. The Cobb tuner is just there for the stage 1 tune, right? It gives a little bit more power, but what I use it for is the gauge to see what is the last rev range, speedo and how fast you were going, and also with what gear shift you're at, and then the maximum torque along with temperature control. So it acts as a gauge, and also it levels out the power band probably in the middle, so it definitely helps out.